And we're live!
And the message has been posted. So let us know when we are live.
And we're live!
And I'm on the channel refreshing to see when it goes up. Does not appear to be going up.
Give it a moment.
Oh, it's titled the Sir Finishing Big Mac thing. Lol.
Yeah, we'll live with that. But we're live at least. We're alive.
It's true.
Finally! Yay! We'll wait for people to kind of roll
Yeah.
in.
I love how my name looks at the bottom. It's just like, hey,
Yeah. Don't you love it? It's so special and pretty.
So
like ours.
epic.
Just you wait. The shenanigans have only just begun.
Hello, everybody. We're gonna wait for a few more people to roll in here. Ignore the stream title.
Please.
Obviously, that is not what this is. We got somebody working on that. It will be fixed soon.
Yes, do not look at the man behind the curtain.
Yeah. But yeah. So we'll just wait another minute. But yeah, in the meantime, how y'all doing?
Woo!
We're out of COVID, right? COVID's over. It's dead, right?
Yeah,
It's over.
We beat it, yeah.
No more quarantine.
Hey,
none of
don't say that word. It's called the Backstreet Boys World Tour.
Reunion tour.
Reunion Tour.
Reunion tour.
Yes, Ruby Blitz. We are talking about ReZero. Ignore the stream title. That will be fixed.
Harden our dust.
Yeah.
We just came up from how many months in hibernation?
Yeah.
Like we're
it's been
animals
a
now?
hot minute. So I want to the last thing that the last thing that we followed on the podcast was Ruby Volume 7.
Yeah, it has been a while.
And then
the
COVID.
The last anime that we talked about, was it Fire Force? Was the last anime we talked about fucking Fire Force?
Don't talk about it.
I'm
Don't.
so sorry
we
you
don't
had to
talk
talk
about
about that.
We don't talk, nor do we talk about how we specifically picked following Fire Force over Demon Slayer.
Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts so much.
It hurts worse than talking to Brian about 100. That's saying something.
Oh my god. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. Hey everybody, it's been a while. The KRWBY Talk podcast is back. My name is Brian. I am the head of the audio department here at KRWBY Productions, and I also voice Neptune for Ruby Abridged. And with me today, I have.
Hi.
We have a few people.
Yes, we have multiple people. Sadly, we
Yeah.
did not think about which order to go into before hitting the we're live
never
button.
get this right. ever.
No.
It wouldn't
never.
be a KRWBY Talk podcast if we didn't know what order we were going in. Hey, Ian, introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ian. I am a bumbling buffoon and a klutz by nature, and I also help admin when I'm not tripping over myself or causing a massive catastrophe on the weekend. Hey, Forrest, what do you do?
Hi, I am on this podcast.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Whoa.
What an achievement, dude! You're on
And,
the internet.
And
I know.
yeah, and this season we have a new regular joining us. If you previously one of our other regulars was Bo. Now we have a new person. Introduce yourself.
Well, hi, Internet. My name is Katie. I've never been on the Internet before ever in my life, and I'm new to the whole Internet thing. What is anime? Who am I? But at KRWBY, I've been here a while. Hi, for KRWBY Productions, I am an actress. I play Vaishni, Cinderfall, Penny, Pelladonuts, because that's her fucking name now. Screw it. And then Velvet the Chocolate Rabbit, of course, and an occasional White Fang member that's been known to cha-cha slide in the back. I also, at KRWBY Productions, have been a writer I've been on the team a while, and most recently I've kind of been in the producer seat, and most recently I've kind of stepped up into more of a director role. So yeah, a lot of stuff's going on at KRWBY. We're excited to get those balls rolling and, you know, make announcements and do a lot of fun stuff. But, you know, today we're here to talk about anime because I am also a giant weeb and I've watched so much anime and I just want to talk about it.
Well, you're in good company.
It's
That's
true.
what we do.
It is what we do. Hey, Ian, we got people saying that I'm quiet. Can you turn me up for them?
You know, I think I can do that. I think my divine powers, if I remember them properly, can fix this issue. How about now? Audience, you be the judge.
I tell us, stream, is it better now?
Woo!
But yeah, so yeah. Also, your name is Katie.
My name is Katie. On
I
the
don't think
internet,
you
I
said
go
your
by the Connie Day.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously, if I mean, you would be able to see from the title, except that the title's wrong. But we are this season. We are going to be talking about the Rees of Zeros.
I think the title was updated.
Oh, the title is fixed! Yay!
Oh,
Thank you, Ethan.
I've been validated. I feel,
Oh my God.
wonderful.
A savior.
Excellent.
Yeah, so as you can see from the title that was always there,
Yep, totally.
we're going to be talking about ReZero Season 2 this season.
Woo!
And yeah, because we're all the fans of the anime.
Yeah, I've
and-
been watching ReZero with Brian from the beginning of ReZero. He like sat me down and was like, "All right, Katie, you have to heckin' watch the show," and we did, and it's great. And I have so many words to say.
Oh, and we will get into that. But before we dive too deep into that, I wanted to take a moment just to kind of get serious, get away from the silly. And just for a brief moment, because as we are an anime podcast, I feel like it would be inappropriate not to acknowledge the fact that we've just passed the 1-year anniversary of the Kyoto Animation Arson Fire. And so for anybody, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably know about that. But for anybody that's not familiar with Kyoto Animation is one of those legendary animation studios in Japan. They're responsible for things like the Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, Lucky Star, Beyond the Boundary, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Violet Evergarden. God, the list just keeps going on and on and on. And yeah, they're also an absolute. I'm sure a lot of you are also aware that working conditions in the anime industry are not great. There's a lot of people working hellish hours for incredibly low pay. And so I really, I really hope you guys know that Kyoto Animation is a leader in that field in terms of treating their employees right, kind of taking the moral high ground with stuff. And it's just absolutely heartbreaking that somebody would go in and just kill people in the way that they did. So basically, I just wanted to acknowledge that it's been a year, and say that we love and support Kyoto Animation here. They've done some really, really incredible stuff. And for all of you guys watching, if you're not familiar with Kyoto Animation, or maybe if you are, please go out and watch their stuff and maybe purchase stuff from their merch store or whatever. Because if they're still only just now, I think the Violet Evergarden movie is I think just now soon gonna drop. So they're really only just now getting back to releasing content. I know they've been working for a while, but they're only just now getting back to that. So if there's any animation studio in the anime industry that deserves your love and support right now, it's Kyoto Animation. So please do that. But anyways, with that said, now let's get back to the silly stuff.
Yay!
All right.
We got one other piece of housekeeping thing before we can get into it. We have a new format. It used to be that the podcast was 100%. We just talk about our book club show, which this season is ReZero. But we would also get messages from people that really wanted us to talk about other things, like shows from seasons past. You know, people going like, "Oh, talk about Full Metal Alchemist," or talk about Tokyo Ghoul or whatever, right? And so we've changed the format up a bit. We now have segments, and I mean, obviously, the main segment, the thing that this podcast is for, is still the book club segment, where we're going to be talking about the show that we're all watching together. But we've now got a couple of other segments to kind of just change things up a bit, see how you guys like it, and allow for some opportunity to talk about some of those other things that maybe people have wanted us to talk about. So we have 3 segments for you guys today, and so I think we should launch into the first one, which is, hey guys, what have you been watching? We've all been watching things. What you guys been watching? I think I want to hear from you first, Katie. What you been watching?
So much
anime.
I have been watching too much, Brian, and you know this. I would like to tell the audience that for the past few weeks, sorry, I'm eating delicious Cheez-Its. Sponsored by Cheez-Its. Not just kidding. We have no sponsor.
Oh my God.
Sponsor us.
Please sponsor Jesus.
But yeah, I've been watching so much anime, so many cartoons. Me and Brian, I think, are watching like 8 shows together right now.
Yeah, we're watching a lot.
Like on the weekends, it's pretty much just like me, Brian, and some other peeps like get together and watch some shows, and it's been great. But one show that I'm very into, that I have been hyping for a long time, it's not an anime. It is a Western animation. It is this little show that actually just started. It's I believe 2nd season or 3rd season, whatever the newest season is. Amphibia. It is my shit. I love Amphibia. Oh my gosh. So to give you a little rundown of Amphibia, it is essentially a frog isekai that is comparable to Gravity Falls, but with frog hijinks. And the world building is very specific. They create this very like zoned in, honed in frog universe, and then they have this very cute, quirky writing, and these characters that are soups adorbs. Brenda Song plays Anne, the main character, and then as you can see in the picture, we have cute little Sprig, who is Soup's cute, and his voice actor is wonderful. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but he gives such a wonderful and endearing performance. And these characters I've grown to love so much. And the pacing is so wonderful in terms of like the joke to like lore ratio, because nowadays it's hard to find like a cartoon that doesn't encompass a little bit of everything, having like that Gravity Falls, the deep lore side of it, along with like comedy and compelling characters to like all match it out. Like it has to be well-rounded. Yes, Amphibia is on Disney Plus. The newest season is not on Disney Plus yet because they typically upload it in kind of a binge format, sadly, like to where they'll, as soon as the season's done, they'll update it all. But yeah, Gravity Falls was amazing. Amphibia reminds me of that. And like the first season is so good because they really space out like the lore of the universe, but it is a really interesting lore that they've created, and the journey that Anne goes on like is something that I've like it made me cry. Like the ending made me cry, which I love. Like I get very emotional with my cartoons because I'm a huge heckin' weeb, and I love my animation. And just yes, I could talk about Amphibia for a long time, but I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, TLDR, sort of like Gravity Falls, a frog isekai, super fun, quirky humor that will just catch you off guard with laughter, and then an interesting plot to kind of keep you there. And it's not afraid to like make some pretty dark jokes too, like which I guess is more common for cartoons nowadays. But if you're looking for something that isn't quite anime, but still has a lot of fun stuff that like any animation fan could love, I really recommend it. It's on Disney Plus. The first season is, and the current season, you can probably get like YouTube TV or like things that let you watch stuff live that'll kind of update stuff. And yeah, I love it so much. And the most recent episode was really great, and I love it. Hooray!
Frogs.
Hell yeah.
Frogs! I love frogs right now.
That sounds like a good time.
It's real
So,
good.
next, I want to hear from Forrest. Hey, Forrest, what you been watching?
What have I? Well, I have been watching that one show with the Vikings.
Ah,
The
Vinland
Vikings one.
Saga.
Oh, it's so
Indeed.
good.
I believe
Yeah.
it's on. Is it on Amazon Plus? Is that where it's?
Or it's on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Amazon Prime,
Amazon
yeah.
Prime. Yes.
Yeah.
Whatever
So
you have to pay for that. Yes. So I've been watching that. Haven't finished it yet, but it's good. If you haven't seen it,
So
It's
for
good.
all of the, because I think all of us in this call have actually watched Vinland Saga.
Yeah,
But-
we have.
yeah, but for all of the audience peoples, you want to explain to them what Vinland Saga is?
It's like. Okay, I was gonna say if it's like Attack on Titan but without Titans, but it's not really. It just kind of looks that way. I think it's the same studio.
Yeah, it's studio.
So
It's Studio Wit. Yeah.
literally, my first reaction was just like, wait, why are the Attack on Titan people on longships? What is going on? But yeah, it's about Vikings. It's got. I don't actually know how historically accurate it is, but it's got it seems like they did their homework. They've got Leif Erikson in it, you know. They talk about like Viking places and invasions of England and kings of Denmark and fun things like that. And yeah, and then our main character is gonna he's like a Viking ninja, you know? So
Yeah.
Yeah, that Viking ninjas. That's a good.
That is really a good way to say
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
he holds his swords backwards and does the run with his arms straight out. Like I can't.
He does the Naruto run.
Nice.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen Vinland Saga, absolutely go check it out. I think a lot of people slept on Vinland Saga because it was on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And it is so good. I mean, I would say like it's like a coming of age story, but
It
it's like a
is.
really brutal coming of age story.
Yeah, it's Vikings. You know, there's
Yeah.
there's some death and glory in it. It seemed, you know, there's maybe a sort of revenge narrative kind of thing, but it doesn't quite work out the way you would expect it to, or at least as far as I've seen. Again, I haven't finished it, but you know, it's not taking your typical revenge story route. So
Yeah,
as you might expect from like the first episode or two. So yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, so in any case, go watch Vinland Saga if you haven't. You won't regret it. So hey, Ian, what you been watching, boy?
Oh God. Jesus Christ. What on earth did I deserve to be spoken to this way? What is this, an angry mob? I have been watching God of High School.
Ah, God of a High School, or however the fuck they say it.
Look, man, I'll be your contradiction.
Be your contradiction.
I think we're all. I think except for Forrest, all of us are also watching God.
Yeah, I'm also
Yes, I
watching
have
God of
to
High
Yeah.
School.
I at least have the pleasure of having seen some of, having read the original material far past this point. So it's like, oh, this is all just set up. Oh, I recognize that scene. That was fun to read. Because it was originally a manhwa, which is basically Korean manga, for people who don't know.
Another Crunchyroll original, like collaboration between Crunchyroll and Webtoon.
Yeah, it's very popular on there because I've been reading it for years, and it's got a lot of stuff happening, and we are quite literally just scratching the surface of what is going to be happening in the story. Like, you think you know, this is just a trashy anime tournament arc, but wait, there's more, and we haven't even tapped into the surface of it yet. Mori and Dewi and Mira are going to evolve in ways you might not initially expect. So buckle up.
I will say one hilarious thing about God of High School that actually makes me like really confused, yet I can't look away, is some of that bullshit is kind of like peeking through. Like our main boy, like I was watching this with another friend of mine, and he said that the main boy is kind of just like Goku. and then there's like some gum fruit bullshit that happened, and like we're like people are like airbending and shit. Like, is magic real? Like,
Yeah, right.
You know,
like,
I can't answer that question actually.
That's
You'll-
what I've been saying. I'm just like, I can't get a handle on this show. Like
this universe is so tricky.
like-
All will become clear, hopefully, in the next 1 to 2 episodes of what's
Like-
happening.
like I can't like it's just like fucking like, is this just like over the top like hype ass anime action, or are these people actually like just like gods? Like what?
Yeah,
I mean, it is in the title of the show,
it's
right?
true.
I wish I could answer that question, but it would seriously affect your experience if I told you what was actually happening.
That
Yeah,
that's-
I believe you. I can believe
but,
you.
like, definitely, yeah. If you guys haven't checked out God of High School yet, it's currently airing on Crunchyroll. Definitely check it out. It's well worth it. The first episode's fucking hilarious.
It is pretty hilarious. And if you want to maybe like catch up on what the original material looks like, go to Line Webtoon and read it for free there. And it's only like maybe the first 10 to 20, maybe 30 episodes on there that you have to read, and you'd be pretty much caught up to where we are right now.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I can always recommend reading the manga.
Mhm. Yeah. So I guess it's my turn now to talk about what I've been watching.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Brian,
Brian.
what you watching?
Wow.
I will tell you what I have been watching.
Tell me
I
now.
have been watching a beautiful show, an elegant show, one might say.
Oh
It is
no.
called Kanojo Okarashimasu,
Oh
also
god.
known as Rented Girlfriend.
Oh, it's the best show ever.
It's
God.
incredible. All right. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're going, Brian, that sounds like trash right there.
That's
Yep.
not my
Brian,
point
that
of bullshit,
sounds-
Brian.
And here's the thing. I have long since given into my degeneracy. Okay. I have long since given into my degeneracy in terms of the anime that I watch.
Oh
And
yeah.
let me tell you guys, life is so much more beautiful once you just give in.
Give in.
It's so
Just let
much more-
go.
Just let go. Just let go. So, Kanojo Okarashimasu is, I think, it falls into this category of anime that I have only started to recently discover. And I think I really began to discover it with things like quintessential quintuplets and whatnot.
Oh god.
Oh, that show, that was so much fun.
We
Like,
watched that together.
yeah, which is, there is like this almost like subgenre of like ecchi harem anime that is like, the show is trashy in concept only, but but like the execution is so top tier. that-
What does that mean? What is that?
Like,
You
Don't
need
worry
to
about it.
experience it to believe it.
yeah, like, and I definitely believe that that's what Rent a Girlfriend is. Basically, to sum it up, Rent a Girlfriend, like Katie and I have been watching Rent a Girlfriend together, and I
Mhm.
think Katie can attest, it is fantastic.
It is top tier. I look forward to more. Mommy-chan belongs to the streets.
All my homies
My homies hate
Mommy.
Mommy-chan.
Best Crunchyroll comment ever. But yeah, no, basically, you've got this dude, and he, like, gets into this relationship with this really cute girl, and he's, like, super excited about it, and he dates her for, like, a month, and then she's like, nah, I'm bored, I'm done, and she just dumps him. And he's all, like, heartbroken and sad and lonely, and he sees that there is this, like, rent-a-girlfriend service, and he's like, you know what? Fuck it, I'm lonely, I have no standards, like, I will pay 5,000 yen to go out on a date with a pretty girl to make myself feel better.
That's $50, by the way, for context.
Yeah, that's $50 right there. 50
Yeah.
kahunas.
So he basically he does that, but he winds up like giving the girl 1 star because he's just like, oh, she does this for all the guys, which is like, of fucking course she does.
That's her job.
Like, and yeah, so things ensue. Like, she gets mad at him for like the 1-star rating, because then like he goes out with her again, and she has to be professional again after he gave her a 1-star rating.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, things ensue. It turns out they go to the same school.
Of course.
That's not
And-
embarrassing.
Also, they literally live right next to each other in their apartment complex.
Oh,
because
fuck.
Dude,
they
there's so
do.
many shenanigans.
On
What?
contrivance.
Why wouldn't they? Naturally, it makes perfect sense.
This is how the universe works.
Exactly. I see
True.
you understand, Forrest. I
A
knew
man
you
of
would
culture
understand.
is Forrest.
Forrest, when did you
Main
start
Girl
drinking
is
the
voiced
Kool-Aid,
by,
man?
Main Girl is voiced by Aqua? I did not know that.
That makes it better.
I love that.
Oh, no.
But yeah, no. Also, the girlfriend that dumped the main character, Mami-chan, is voiced by my girl Aoi Yuki.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
well,
no.
that's why you're watching it.
Yeah.
Now I know.
That's the only reason Brian's watching that show, by the way. If Aoyuki's in it, he'll watch anything.
Even though she belongs to the streets.
Even though she belongs to the streets. Here's the thing, right? Honestly, Mami-chan, real talk, I feel like Mami-chan is gonna be like the next big, like, most hated anime character since mine from Shield Hero. Like, you remember how violently people hated mine? I feel like that's what's gonna happen with Mami-chan, because Mami-chan is such a manipulative bitch.
I hate her so much. She belongs to the streets.
Look, fam, if there's one thing people know how to write universally, it's people you hate.
Yeah.
Like, I'll
But
just
yeah.
write the most irritating asshole I've ever met. Done. You can hate this person.
It's true.
But basically, for reasons, this fake girlfriend gets dragged to the hospital and, like, meets his, like, grandmother and whatnot. His grandma is so happy that he finally has a girlfriend that they basically have to keep this charade up.
Oh god.
Right, and so things just ensue from there, and loads of shenanigans, and it's a ton of fun. I highly recommend it. It's definitely, I think, one of my top shows of the season.
Oh yeah. There's so
but-
many things that I want to
Oh.
say.
Then say them, Katie. What do you want
I can't say them. I can't spoil this beautiful
Oh,
show.
spoiler.
Just go watch this show and return to us.
Return to us next week.
Back. So yeah, that brings us to the end of our "What Have We Been Watching" segment.
That's what we were watching.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
we've been watching. So now we are on to segment 2 of 3. My God,
I'm
we're a
scared of
third of
this
the way
segment.
there.
I'm really scared of this next segment, Brian. I'm terrified.
So, have y'all heard of a little show called
Don't do it.
Sword Art Online?
No! Don't do it!
He's gone there.
Here we go,
It's too
Brian.
late.
You're gonna have to guide me through on this one because obviously I haven't had time to catch up on anything.
Oh, so let me explain. So, right now, if you're not aware, Sword Art Online Alicization War of Underworld Part 2 is currently airing.
Long title.
Long
That's
time.
A lot of subtitles.
Yes. And I am watching it because of course I am.
Of course.
Now how do I put this? Sword Art Online is not good.
That is one way to say that.
That is the most
in
polite way you
fact-
can say that, good sir.
Some people might even say that it is bad.
Whoa, that's controversial.
Hey,
Brian.
People, dare
Brian.
I say, not me, you understand, but some people, dare I say, might even say that it's a dumpster fire.
Brian, it's a flaming hot dumpster fire.
We
and
found that person.
so I figured that it would be a fun kind of thing to do where I just sit here and I recap what happened in SAO to you guys and regale you with all the tales of its ridiculousness. But there's a little problem with this, you see. It occurred to me that some of our audience, and perhaps even some people in this call, have not actually seen all of Sword Art Online.
I'm scared.
Buckle up, Buttercup. You're gonna need it.
Does SAO abridged count?
Nope.
So so the first thing that I felt needed to happen, and I'm going to be initially I was going to try to do this all in one go, but I realized that it was getting way too long, so I had to break it up. I am going to recap SAO for you, and I am going to go arc by arc. And today I'm going to be recapping the Aincrad arc, which is the first arc of the show.
Oh no.
Now, before I launch into this, I want to say that this is something a little different. Generally on this podcast, we try to give deep, meaningful, insightful commentary. It's not what this is.
Not what this is at all.
Not what this is. This is kind of rant, reactionary stuff. And before anybody gets mad at me, I feel it's very important to clarify this. If any of you watching are fans of SAO, that is okay. I am glad that you are fans of SAO. I'm not trying to be condescending in any way. It is okay to like SAO. There are people out there who will claim otherwise. That's bullshit. Like what you like.
What he's actually saying is that you should feel personally attacked when he starts tearing down SAO. As regardless of what he is saying, you're going to feel that way one way or the other.
And despite everything that I'm about to say, I actually do really enjoy watching SAO.
I've enjoyed watching it with our friends and talking about everything that's wrong.
I wrote this all out the other day. Now, before I launch into this, I also need to let you know. Don't ask me how this happened. But as I was writing this, a character voice developed.
Oh fuck!
Oh god!
So I will read this in the character voice as it was intended. So
he's gonna perform this for you guys.
Forewarning.
Buckle up.
Forewarning.
I'm buckled.
Are you ready?
No.
We're about to go in, my dudes.
I'm scared.
All right. Here we go. In the beginning, there was a young man named Reki Kawahara. He had an absolutely fantastic idea, but no technical writing skill whatsoever to actually execute properly on this fantastic idea. But that simple fact didn't bother young Reki none, no sir. And he put forward against all the odds and wrote it anyway. The dumpster fire he wrote became what we now know as Sword Art Online. Let us begin. Now, the story of Sword Art Online follows our main character, Kirito, aka Jesus-kun. Why is he called Jesus-kun? Because he's perfect and can never do any wrong, and it's kinda really annoying. Now, Kirito is a player in the world's first VR MMORPG, Sword Art Online, or SAO for short. And SAO utilizes what's called full dive technology. Basically, they got this helmet called the Nerve Gear, and you puts it on your head, and it reads your brainwaves or some shit. And when you send motor function commands, like, I'ma raise my arm, it blocks that signal from reaching your body, and instead sends it to your in-game virtual avatar. So basically, you're just lying in bed like a vegetable, with a dumbass helmet on your head, but inside the game, you're doing loop-de-loops and shit. It's pretty cool! Anyways, so it's launch day, and Kirito is finally in the game, and he's like, holy shit, I'm in the game. Then he starts teaching this guy named Klein how to kill pigs by throwing rocks at them, like true men of culture. When all of a sudden, they realize they can't log out of the game. Then they're immediately teleported into the town square, along with all the other players, and this guy named Kayaba Akihiko shows up. And it turns out, Kayaba Akihiko actually made the damn game. And he's like, yo, have you noticed y'all can't log out? Well, I did that shit on purpose. Cause fuck you, I wanna be God. Also, if you die in the game, you die in real life because the nerve gear will fry your brain and shit. And if you want to escape, you have to complete all 100 floors. Alright, have fun with that. And then he fucks off, kinda just like the real God. And thus begins the Einkrad arc. Now, you'd think that with all the pig killing they did, that Klein and Kirito would become a party. But no, you'd be wrong. Kirito has to go through his bullshit loner phase first. See, this is why Reki Kawahara is in charge of the story and not you. Now, it's in episode 2 that Kirito first meets his main waifu, Asuna. But she's not all that important in episode 2, and she doesn't come back for a little bit, so we're just gonna skip over that part. Now, over the next several months, Kirito continues his crusade as a solo player. It's also during this period that Kirito begins his famous waifu collection process. This is a process that he will never stop, even after he gets together with Asuna. The first waifu he collects is a girl named Sachi, who dies, and it's supposed to be sad, but it's not, due to the incredibly rushed and stupid way in which it happens.
Oh my god.
The second waifu he collects is a girl named Silica, who needs Kirito's help to revive her pet dragon. And Kirito decides to help her because she supposedly resembles his cousin/sister, Suguha, which, if you've seen the fairy dance arc where Suguha is formally introduced, fucking how? Kirito resembles Suguha in precisely 0 ways. The third waifu Kirito collects is his main waifu for laifu, Asuna. And he collects her while they're working together on a murder mystery in the game? Because of course there is. But they haven't come up yet, that comes later.
Oh my
Now,
god.
the fourth waifu he collects is Lisbeth. Lisbeth is a blacksmith, and Kirito accidentally breaks one of her swords.
Not accidentally.
So they go together and fight a dragon to get a rare metal to make a new sword. And by the end of the episode, Lisbeth declares her love for Kirito, despite having only known each other for approximately 26 hours. Okay, now I'm gonna fast forward to where the plot starts to kick in, which is incidentally about 2 years later, because pacing in this show isn't just bad, it's non-existent. Kirito and Asuna start working together more regularly and growing closer despite initially hating each other. Then, Kirito defeats a floor boss single-handedly with his unique sword skill, dual-wielding. Now, there are 2 stupid things I just said in that last sentence, but I'd like to draw your attention to the former. Kirito defeated a floor boss single-handedly! If you've ever played an MMORPG, you should know is not a thing! There are no words for how stupidly overpowered Kirito is.
Okay,
Anyway.
first of all, hang on. This is not just an MMORPG where you're just pushing buttons and praying that you can stay out of a zone, which they're about to obliterate. He's actually interacting with them physically, so I can... it's less unbelievable. It's still freaking unbelievable, but it's less unbelievable.
I highly disagree. The show's bullshit. Anyway, Kirito's battle with the floor boss was live streamed, right? And all the players saw him use his ultra-unique sword skill, dual-wielding. Because, dual wielding is such a creative, unique skill to give the main character.
Nobody else thought to hold another sword in their other
Nobody
hand?
can hold 2 swords, Forrest. It's not allowed. Only people can do it.
But I thought you said you could do anything in this game in real life.
Except
Move
that.
your arm.
Except that.
Oh, okay. Alright.
So following that, because of this guy named Heathcliff, Kirito ends up joining the Knights of the Blood Oath, which is like the top guild in the game. And then Asuna's former bodyguard tries to kill Kirito because he's part of this group called Laughing Coffin that are just straight up murderers. And then Asuna swoops in to save the day, but she doesn't kill the guy, which is bullshit. The fuck needed to die. And then, in the heat of the moment, Kirito and Asuna kiss. Because nothing is more romantic than attempted homicide. What the fuck? For more details on what happened off screen, read chapter 16.5.
Oh god.
Read at your own peril. Now, I would like to take a moment just to appreciate this development with Kirito and Asuna, because I do believe that this is one of the few things that this show does very, very right. It's not common to see love interests get together before the end of a show, let alone towards the beginning. And I think the subversion of that trope was not only good writing, but also played a huge part in getting people so invested in this series early on. But don't worry, they take even the good things in this show and make them stupid very, very quickly. You see, immediately following this development, Kirito and Asuna decide to get married.
God
And
damn
now
it.
I know what you're thinking. You're going, wow, Brian, that's pretty stupid. It couldn't possibly get any stupider now, could it? Oh, but it can. And I promise you it does. Because immediately following the marriage development, Kirito and Asuna have a kid! These
God damn it.
baby-faced freshmen in high school looking ass teenagers have a goddamn child! And her name is Yui, and she's fucking bullshit!
Brian,
No, not even a real child! She's a psychiatrist AI that's supposed to look after the mental health of the players. And she took an interest in Kirito and Asuna and inserted herself into their lives because they were the only two people that over the course of 2 years felt happiness. Which, I don't know about you, but I find that very hard to believe.
Brian,
Thankfully, though,
Brian.
as far as the Aincrad arc is concerned, she's only around for 2 episodes because the system tries to delete her at the end. But don't worry, she'll be back. Because in a fantastic display of bullshittery, Kirito, who is apparently a coding wizard, because of course he is, he's Kirito, hacks an admin console, accesses the source code, and saves Yui to his nerve gear as an in-game item in the space of about 5 seconds before the system has a chance to delete her. Kirito also does not use this access to the source code and his mythologically high-level coding skills to free everyone from the game!
Brian,
His youth in this one scene alone is so astronomical that it's legitimately impressive.
Brian, when was the last time you went to anger management?
So anyways, after that dumpster fire dies out, a new one begins as we've reached the climax of the arc. Kirito, Asuna, and the rest of the Knights of the Blood Oath go to defeat the floor boss for floor 75. They defeat it, and then Kirito randomly attacks Heathcliff, the leader of the Knights of the Blood Oath. And it turns out that Heathcliff is actually the game's creator, Kayaba Akihiko. And Kirito figured this out. Wait for it, wait for it. Kirito figured this out because he dueled this guy once and lost. And since Kirito is obviously perfect, the only possible way he could lose is if the other guy is cheating, right? And the only one who can cheat at SAO is Kayaba. So naturally, Heathcliff must be Kayaba. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it? It's just
Not only it.
No, it doesn't! So at this point, you can probably already see the bullshit. But what transpires next is perhaps even more bullshit than the stuff with Yui. For you see, Kirito challenges Kayaba to a fair duel, where he turns off all of his safeguards. And if Kirito wins, then Kayaba has to release everyone from the game, which makes sense from a logical perspective. But from a story perspective, it's super anticlimactic, and just one more entry in the show's long list of terrible pacing. Really? We're not gonna see the big boss fight at floor 100? Come on! In any case, Kirito fights Kayaba and loses. Both Asuna and Kirito die, but somehow Kirito breaks the game with sheer willpower and manages to stay alive long enough to stab Kayaba and kill him too. Then, for some reason, Kayaba still holds up his end of the bargain and ends the death game, even though he has no reason to. And somehow, Kirito and Asuna, despite having died, don't actually die. Don't ask me how that shit works. And everyone is released from the game, or so we think.
Or so it seems.
That is the end of the Aincrad arc.
Brian,
Oh my god.
Brian,
you need help.
are you okay, Brian? Blink once if you're not okay. Who's holding you captive?
I am okay.
No.
Brian, if you don't mind, could you wink as an emoji in the Discord chat for those of us who don't have your camera on? Because, you know.
Uh,
God.
oh,
And
shit,
also-
you're right. I forgot about why they asked him why he made the game. He doesn't remember. He doesn't fucking remember.
Why?
Why he does this? There's no explanation for why he trapped
Gamble.
people in the game.
Gamble, what the hell, man? We were just getting him off the
Great.
topic.
No,
Gamble.
please.
We are moving
I would just like
on.
to take the opportunity to promote the Something Witty read through of 16.5.
Yes.
Obviously, yes, go watch the abridged, but specifically, 16.5 is the most treasured thing I've ever experienced. I've listened to it twice. It's great. Go do that if you are a degenerate like us.
Yeah, no, it's if you're like me and you like some good world building with your hot sex.
It's terribly
you definitely get it
wonderful.
in 16.5.
God.
It's kind of astounding how bad Ricky Kawahara's sex writing.
Yep, and I was
It's
on-
bad, fam. It's real
not.
bad.
It's official.
Wait, what'd you say?
It's official. It's canon.
Oh yes, it's official. It is the official writer that did it, that brought that curse into the world, and just Something Witty brings it to life in a beautiful way. Go read it. Go listen to them read it.
Somebody needed to read a Nora Roberts novel once or twice before writing that scene.
Oh my god.
Anyways, that was something a little different.
I look forward to more of whatever that was.
I hope you guys enjoyed that.
That was great.
I feel like I need to reiterate once again for anybody who potentially gets mad at me. I enjoy watching SAO. I swear to God, I do like SAO.
I think you need to pander more to it rather than scream at it. I think they might believe you.
But yeah. So in any case, I had a lot of fun doing that, and I'm looking forward to recapping the fairy dance arc next.
No.
Because you know we're gonna be talking about that incest.
Stop with that stupid New York accent. I don't even know where it's from, Queens.
But yeah. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Yeah. So I think it is time, my dudes. I think it is time to talk about our anime book club show. The title of our episode. It's time to talk about ReZero.
Oh, bitch.
So
at last.
Yeah. It is finally time to talk about ReZero. So I want to just go ahead and start this out before we start talking about ReZero Season 2, because we have 3 episodes that we need to talk about. We got started a little late. But before we get into that, I kind of wanted to just briefly talk about reactions to the first season, because I know that for Ian and myself, we watched ReZero pretty much when it first came out in 2017, right? Is that when the first season came out?
Fam, I don't even remember. It has been a while. I have the memory of a goldfish, dude. You're asking me for that?
It's been a hot minute. However, we do have 2 people here who watched ReZero more recently now.
Yes.
So Forrest and Katie. Katie, you and I watched it together. Forrest, you watched it on your own. So I kind of wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on now just coming into this world of ReZero.
Well, what is there to say, Brian? Subaru is my husband, and I will protect him. But I do have one question before I continue. Who is Rem?
You get out of here with that!
No. That was genuinely a hard to watch ending and they ended the season on that, right?
So They ended
No,
so
they
I
didn't.
will point out, so that was a new scene for the director's cut. Because that's the first scene of the new season as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
So
but
that
they
we're
didn't
going to be
cliffhanger
talking about
people with
season 2
that.
today, so buckle in for spoilers, I mean.
yeah, obviously
Yes, all the spoilers.
But yeah, no, with that scene did not exist in the original run of the show.
Okay, because that's a pretty dick move there. That
Yeah.
hey, we defeated the crazy whale. Everything's going great. Wait.
Wait a minute.
And I knew immediately that was going to be really bad because the odds of him having gotten, I'm just going to call him a checkpoint because he basically just is just saving his game, right? It just auto saves at weird points. He got an auto save by that point. Like we can pretty much guarantee, right? So it was like, oh, they're not going to be able to undo that.
Yeah. Like it was very much like when I first started watching ReZero and I knew what, and I figured out what the premise was, I was just like, there is going to come a point where he's going to want to kill himself to go back in time, and his checkpoint will have already moved, and he's gonna have to like leave something in the past. Like I'm calling it now. And then like, yeah, this thing with Rem, I was just like, I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
Still weren't prepared.
Yeah, but like I'd like to hear your overall impressions of ReZero Season 1, Forrest.
Well, I think, but Katie, you were still.
Oh, sure. I can start. I thought we were going to make it bounce a little.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
no.
Otherwise.
I think that ReZero is one of those shows that I am very character, like, I love things that are very character driven, things that really get into the details. Oh, sorry. I was reading something. Somebody wrote something. Okay. Cool. But no, yeah, I love heckin' shows that really get into the details with their characters about like their emotional journeys and like really displaying like empathy very bravely. And I think ReZero is one of those shows that Subaru's journey from the beginning to the end, like seeing the development that he had, where he essentially has to look himself in the fucking face and realize what a shithead he was, and humble the fuck out of himself by those around him and through his journey and his experiences, but seeing him become so humble and so real with himself, and seeing an isekai get that real with an emotional journey like that makes Subaru one of my favorite like characters of all time now. Like it's in the little details that they give him after the big episode with him and Rem. Like it's beautiful. It's very specific. They don't really hold back for him, and I really appreciate that. And it creates like some really good commentary too, like when it comes to like how women are perceived in these worlds, and how like some like one of my favorite lines is when Amelia says to him like, wow, the Amelia in your head must be amazing.
Yeah.
Like when she calls him out that he's put her on this pedestal of what and putting all these expectations on it, even though he was working hard, he was trying his best, but he felt entitled. He for a moment showed that entitlement. And like so many, I guess when it comes to parallels to the real world, but like in anime especially, there can be that thing where you waifu eyes and stuff, and it creates kind of this commentary on it that I think was very well done. And Subaru having to realize, I cannot fucking talk to people like that. Like I cannot fucking treat these women like this. Like and people in general, but specifically I liked the commentary with like Amelia, who is a love interest, and sometimes you treat people differently when you want to fuck them. So like I think it's a wonderful show that really goes into so many things, but that was something specific that I really loved that the show touched on, and it was a core piece of Subaru's character development and his relationship with Amelia and with Rem moving forward, and just who he became as a person by that humbling and by having those hard conversations within himself. Like, yeah, it makes ReZero an amazing show that I continue to look forward to because I want to see where he goes, and I love Amelia. Amelia is best girl.
Yes. These are correct statements that you did.
No, I'm
Correct,
sorry.
yeah.
You made a very incorrect statement. Rem is still best girl. Fight me.
Wow,
How
I will
dare
tell
you.
you. I do love Rem a lot, though. She is also like, if I could just put them right next to each other when I get figures of them on my shelf, like they
I
will.
mean, I think we're all ignoring obvious best girl, which is Betty. Okay.
Shut the fuck up, Fred.
I'm not sure that Betty can be. She's a spirit. I don't know that she has an actual
That
gender.
doesn't matter. She looks like a girl, therefore she.
Oh my god.
Forrest, I think you
He
seriously
doesn't need to be
underestimate the.
human, Forrest. You
It's
don't need to be
true.
human to be best girl.
I suppose not.
I think you are grossly underestimating the power of the anime community to rationalize.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But yeah, I want to hear your thoughts, Forrest.
Well, I would say that scene you were talking about, Katie. I think that was the turning point in the show for me. That conversation he has with Emilia after he basically just says like, "I'm doing everything for you," and then she's like, "No, you're not. Don't involve me in your stupidity." And he's like, "But you owe me. You owe me more than you could ever repay." And it's just like, oh, okay. And he realizes what he says after that, and he says, "Oh, that didn't come out the way I intended it to at all."
Yep.
Yep. You entitled little piece of.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
when I started watching the show, I was like, okay, they didn't even go through all of the. Again, I don't know SAO through SAO. I know SAO through SAO abridged, but you know they had like the helmets you wear and all of this like, oh, this is how they're being transported. This show doesn't even bother with that. They're just like, he goes out for groceries one day and then bang presto, he's in another dimension. No explanation. I assume we'll get some of that actually in the next episode, but more on that later.
Yeah.
But it's like no time wasted. You're in a fantasy world now. Congratulations. And it goes as one might assume a sort of typical transported to a magical world fantasy goes. He just collects attractive women and they're all doting on him and he defeats and that does the usual sort of thing. And then he like dies graphically. And I'm like, oh, that's where they're going with this. Okay. And I was a little more interested in that because that's a little bit more interesting take. It's not the the Mary Sue character of just like, well, I'm basically God because I played all the video games and now I'm in a video game, so that makes me invincible, right? And it's like, no, he's still garbage. You're still useless at everything. But he doesn't realize that, and so yeah. And I think that point, that conversation with Amelia is the turning point really for me when the show sort of shows its colors, and it's like, no, we're not actually gonna. I think the way you pitched this to me, Brian, initially was, he's a really annoying protagonist at the start, but it's intentional. Don't worry, it's intentional.
Yeah. You gotta have a place to grow from.
Okay. So yeah, I'm enjoying the show. The new season, I like that we're getting a lot more plot development exposition kind of things, like pretty rapidly here.
Yeah,
it just
but
kind of
we'll get to that. I mean, I will say caveats. I do have some issues with the show that I think are, like the fact that he and I'm and this maybe these are fighting words. I don't know, maybe, but like his whole thing with Rem, as wonderful and beautiful as that is, she does murder him several times. Like, I'm just saying, the dude would have some PTSD from that. Like,
I mean,
fair.
Look, fam.
She like chops his arm off at one point.
Nothing is more attractive than a femme fatale. You should know.
I love a woman that can kick my ass.
Yeah.
It's literally like rip my arm off. Yeah, that's yep.
Harder, daddy.
More like harder, mommy, considering.
You right.
I still have limbs attached, please.
Right.
But yeah. So as much as it does the anime waifu harem thing, and you can't really get around that. I think it maybe does that in the best way possible, given what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's self-aware at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, it's a fun. I like the lore stuff. I like when they start talking about like the backstory with the witch and the dragon and all of that. I'm just like, ooh, world building, please, more of this.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun.
Hell yeah. Ian, what now coming from, you watched it when it was currently airing. I think you watched it week to week, right?
I did. I watched it from airing from start to finish, and it was a nice jaw dropper at the time. It was just, oh shit, is he gonna actually make it this time? Is it nope, nope, he's dead. Here we go, back to square one. But one of the things that ReZero has always excelled at is increasing the level of urgency in which Subaru will take things as he continues to die. It's
Yeah.
just a, oh no, suddenly I just realized I have even less time than I realized, and I need to step on it, and just he'll figure out things to get people to do what he needs to get him through his current scenario so that people live.
Yeah,
Which in the end, at the end of season one, seems to have worked.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Seems to.
it's the speed thing, but it's also like he gets into a situation, dies, realizes, okay, that didn't work. Let me try something else. He tries a different tactic, and then realizes, oh shoot, this situation is way more complicated than I thought it was, and there's way more factors.
Hmm.
He tries. I'm trying to think of like the whole whale thing, right?
Uh-huh.
Like they mention it sort of offhandedly. Oh yeah, there's this whale, and there's like it makes fog, and I don't know. Sounds weird, I guess. Okay, let's forget about that, and we'll go to the castle and try to fix. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, well, and then he like forgets about the whale. Nobody mentions the whale, and then like, oh well, what if we just go to the castle straight? What if we just take the main road and just go there? Because we gotta rush, right? We know that we're running out of time. Let's just take a cart there, whatever. And then they meet the whale.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yep.
oh shoot, this is way more intense than we first
This
thought.
is the bad.
This is the bad and way out of their league.
What
Yeah.
we
Yep.
thought was bad at the castle is like small peanuts compared to the bad.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
So I definitely had an interesting kind of watch experience with ReZero, and I'm just gonna tell everybody now, if you have not rewatched ReZero, do yourself a favor and rewatch ReZero.
Get some friends. Make it an event. It's great.
Yeah.
You're gonna re-zero? Is that what
Yeah.
Yes.
I have now watched ReZero season 1, I think 4 different times.
Mm.
I've watched it like the first time I watched it was when it first came out. I don't think I caught it while it was airing. I think I caught it immediately after it was airing. So I binged all of ReZero pretty quickly. And I remember at the time, I was still in college, and I was just like, oh, this is all right. This is fun. Like it's a good show. I'm enjoying myself, right? But I remember like not thinking much of it. I was just kind of like, oh, it's just another isekai. It's just a different take on the isekai genre. But going back and rewatching it now, like I went back and rewatched it for the when the director's cut was airing, because they were gearing up for ReZero season 2, and I was like, okay, I should go back and refresh my memory. And I don't know if it's I just know more about storytelling now because I've had a few years to get better at it. Or if it is really that watching more anime, or just and yeah, like I don't know what it was, but going back and rewatching it, my opinion of the show drastically changed from, yeah, that was good, to, oh my god, this is incredible. It is probably one of my favorite anime ever. The writing is, I think, pretty damn near masterpiece level. Because I finally, I think, fully realized what the show was trying to do. When, the moment that you guys are talking about, where Subaru kind of has to confront himself and go, "Oh, I'm a piece of shit," right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That is 100% aimed at the audience, because isekai as a genre in general is wish fulfillment, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get transported to this fantasy world, and you've just wasted your life in the real world with all of your video games and your anime and whatnot, all these things that are totally not useful in real life, right? But now that you've been transported to this fantasy world, now you just know how everything works, and now you're just going to be a god in this new world, and you're going to kick ass, and you're going to get all the girls, and it's going to be a great time, right?
So SAO.
Yeah.
Get roasted.
And so, and ReZero basically takes that and goes, "Oh, you think that just because you played a bunch of video games that you're gonna be good in this world? No, you were useless in your old world, and you're gonna be useless in this one." And it's really interesting to kind of take it from a perspective of Subaru, who has this, who understands all of the isekai tropes, right? And so he's even like labeling things as like events and whatnot in like the first few episodes, where he's talking about like certain things happening, and just kind of like,
you're an NPC.
Yeah, like understanding how all of that works. And I remember like kind of talking with Katie about how, like, in his relationship with Emilia, because he's still thinking about this world as kind of being crafted for him, he's not thinking about Emilia as a person. He definitely feels like he's owed Emilia. Like, he's the protagonist. Of course he needs a waifu, right?
Yep.
And this is the first girl that he met. Clearly, she's his waifu. So, like, why isn't she reciprocating? What the hell is going on here? This isn't fair, right?
Also, if he has multiple waifus, that's okay. I mean, that's how games work, right? I mean, you just kind of, I can butter up.
But
this
it's when
NPC,
he
butter up
learns
that
that
NPC.
if he wants to succeed in this world, just like any world, you have to learn to become a good person that has things to offer. Not just like on a physical level, but like on a mental, emotional level, like to people individually. You have to humble yourself. You have to be someone worthy of respect, and respect yourself, and in turn respect others. And that is the fucking internal journey that we like to see.
Yeah, and it's really like, and it's really interesting because I remember so many people, right? I mean, everybody talks about, I can't remember which episode it is, but it's the episode where, with Rem's big speech, right?
Yeah.
Where they name drop the title of the show.
Yeah, where they name drop.
They said the thing.
Yeah. And that episode, when that came out, was so divisive, man. Like, everybody, like, I remember so many people being so upset that Subaru decided to pick Emilia over Rem. And I remember I was one of those people at the time. And I remember, like, when Emilia, like, walked out on Subaru, I was like legit in that camp of like, how could she do this? Like, right? And that was the reaction of a lot of people. And I think when I kind of came back around and watched it again and had this different reaction, where I was like, no, like, Emilia has every right to walk out. Like, he's being an ass, right? And like, why it makes sense for Subaru to pick Emilia over Rem, and all that kind of stuff. Like, when I finally like came around to that, I just kind of had this epiphany where I was like, oh my god, I was Subaru. Like, the author was literally writing this with the intention of the audience is going to be identifying with Subaru and expecting a standard isekai story, and they're going to be, like Subaru, really upset when they don't get it. So not only is ReZero a story about, I think, holding up a mirror to Subaru and saying, "Hey, Subaru, you're ugly. Fix your shit," right? It's also holding up a mirror to just, I think, standard, like, that escapist anime fantasy in general, and the audience behind that, and be like, "Yo, fix your shit."
It's holding up a mirror to Subaru. Subaru is a stand-in for us, the audience.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
The mirror is really for us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when I realized that, I was just like, "Oh my god, this show is incredible." And also the way this show does world building. This show's world is so vibrant and expansive, and I think that Taipei Nagatsuki, the author, does such a great job of really kind of taking this, what would otherwise be a really traditional fantasy world, and making it really interesting and vibrant and compelling. And the other thing that you kind of touched on a bit, Katie, is the characters, like the character writing in this show is just to die for, man. Every single character has a purpose. Every single plot point is built and set up to. And even the minor characters continue to come back and be characters. Like the fucking, like, thugs in the in the city. Like, they keep coming back.
Oh yeah. I would also like to give a shout out to runner-up waifu of the year, Crush.
Yes, I love Crush so much. Crush is honorary best girl.
It's true.
God, she's so good.
She is great. She is my shonen bullshit character that I desire and I strive to be. Like, I love her so much.
Yeah, like, so much of the writing in ReZero, it's all so deliberate and so beautifully crafted. And it really took me rewatching the show a few times before I was really able to fully, like, realize that. Because when you just watch the show for the first time, you're just, like, kind of watching things unfold as they happen. When you go back and rewatch, you see how each thing is very carefully set up and very carefully crafted. And they just put so much time and effort into their characters, and so much time and effort into the different arcs. And I still, like, I think one of my favorite arcs is still the mansion arc, where we get our Rem and Rom backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, it's wonderful. And even, what you were saying, Forrest, about, like, Subaru having PTSD. He definitely did.
Yeah.
Like, for a time there, and it really, like, he basically was having full-on panic attacks, and it took Emilia to kind of, like, come in and help calm him down, which, by the way, can we just appreciate that fucking scene?
Oh, when he cries in her lap?
Yeah.
That scene is another one of my favorite scenes.
Oh, it's so good. So, yeah, in any case, I guess to kind of cap off on ReZero Season 1, I just want to say, if for any of you watching, and for anybody here in the call, if you haven't gone back and rewatched ReZero, do yourself a favor and
need to ReZero.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been called out.
It's really incredible. It is, I think, now at this point, one of my favorite anime ever.
It's high praise.
Yeah, I know. I am aware.
I will say one my last comment on it is simply that there's one, like, as much as I love the very cringy scene where he and Amelia are yelling at each other, I think my favorite scene from Season 1 is it the second time I think it's when he's going to the manor. They realize something's gone wrong at the manor, and that he's going to go back and save the day, right? And he dies horribly.
Naturally,
he meets the sloth guy.
Oh,
one of the most creepy characters I've seen in a show. Like,
Methodigus is one of my favorite, like, over the top crazy characters ever.
Yeah,
he's so well written. And Yoshitsugu Matsuoka, who, by the way, voices Kirito in Japanese.
God damn it!
is such an incredible actor, and he does such a great performance as Beetlejuice. Like,
well, he at some point he tells Subaru, he tells him, "You're not crazy enough. This you're boring crazy. This is not how you crazy. Let me show you."
Yeah.
Let me show you true insanity. But no, my favorite scene is, I think, after he comes back the second time, and I think Rem dies rather horrifically. And yeah, that was exciting. And he goes back to the mansion, and he's like, okay, if I can just make it to the mansion, it's now snowing, something weird's gonna happen. And then a giant wolf pops out of the top of it, and then looks at him and speaks his head off. Roll credits.
Yeah.
Like, I sat there and just normally, like, when I get to the end of an episode of a show, I don't, I'll be honest, I don't listen to, like, the ending song, usually. I sat there and I just watched the credits roll. I was like, yeah, that just happened. I have to process. This needs time to... like, very few, I think... The only other scene where I've been really just like, yes, that was a roll credits moment, is that scene from Demon Slayer.
Oh yeah.
And you know the one I'm talking about. Like,
I do know
that scene.
About.
Yeah. Where they roll credits, and it's just like, yep, well done.
Yeah.
that was an equivalent sort of scene, I think, and they knew it too.
Yeah. No, it's like, yeah, that is another episode that's just from beginning to end is just really incredible. And yeah, like Betelgeuse is just one of my favorite crazy characters.
Such good. Such drama.
Oh man. But yeah, so I guess we should get into talking about ReZero Season 2. Season 2!
Yes, we should.
So, we normally what we would do in the past is we just kind of go through the episodes in chronological order. But part of the reason why, but we just kind of ended up recapping a lot of the episode and not like, and we would only have like some like really like deep discussion on it. And so that was kind of like part of the inspiration behind adding the other segments, was maybe like getting rid of the chronological thing and just kind of like talking about the episode, you know, the big bits that we want to talk about, because we assume that you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing?
At this point,
why are you here?
Spoilers. There will be all the spoilers. Every spoiler, we've got it.
Oh, yeah,
all the spoilers here.
So I guess we should launch into ReZero Season 2, Episode 1, Each One's Promise. So, Season 2 hit the ground running.
Yeah.
No, it didn't miss a beat.
Literally, like, the next part of that scene. They just, like, picked right up where it left off.
Yeah. Like, just no, like, slow burn, no get back into it, none of that. Like, just, here we go. And they just opening it fuck up with the... Dare no koto?
Yeah.
How could you do this?
It was at this moment he realized.
He was royally fucked. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that got memed the fuck out of, like, that bit got like memed the fuck out of it, and like,
not without good reason, mind you.
Yeah, and Katie was the core contributor to that.
Credit where credit is due.
I did a lot of crying in that episode.
Oof.
So I feel like we need to talk about my girl Krush for a moment here. Because there's some interesting things that happen, right? Like, so we get kind of a flashback to Rem with Krush, and we meet. So we just defeated the Sin Archbishop of Sloth, and now we meet two brand new Sin Archbishops of the Witches' Cult. We meet Gluttony and Greed.
Yep.
Which is doubly a spit in the face moment because like, hey, we killed this whale. It was like freaking hard. It took this big army and like tons of people died, but man, we did it. Gluttony monster defeated, right? I don't know why gluttony has magic fog that erases people, but sure, okay, whatever. You know what?
Why not?
It's a new interpretation of gluttony, less about food, I guess. Anyways,
Yeah.
we're like, yes, we beat it. We're good. We're down. Sloth and gluttony. The world is good, and it's like, oh wait, that wasn't the art. That was just a monster. Oh, okay.
Yep.
Life sucks.
I mean, like, it was referred to as gluttony, but we knew, like, I guess I always knew that it wasn't the Sin Archbishop, right? It was something for gluttony, I guess.
Yeah.
But I will say that as of this episode, we do know why, why the whale has this fog that erases people, and why that is a part of gluttony. Like, that gets revealed in this first episode.
Yeah.
Because rather than just like eating a bunch of physical things, gluttony eats people's name and their memories.
Which have two different effects, right?
Have two different effects. Like, if you eat someone's name, everybody forgets about you. If you eat someone's memories, then you just don't remember anything, but people remember you.
You forget yourself, basically.
Yeah, you forget yourself. And then if the gluttony eats both, then you're just a hollow husk that nobody remembers.
Yeah.
You cease to exist, pretty much.
Pretty much.
You may as well be dead if you aren't already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rip Rem.
Yeah. So meeting gluttony and greed was really interesting. I'm excited to see them kind of become characters. I'd also really like to know why they were there. You know.
Yeah.
And I had this moment, and I'm gonna talk more about this a little bit later in the episode. But so Krush loses an arm.
Yep. In
her fight with greed, and I didn't catch this the first time around. I caught it on a rewatch as I was taking notes, and it hurt me so much. After she loses her arm, Rem comes and grabs her, and calls out to her, right, and starts trying to heal her arm. And while she's being healed, like Krush, who is normally, very steadfast, and very much like, I am the serious one. I am in charge. I'm going to lead all the people. I'm not going to show weakness, right?
Mm-hmm.
She calls out to Felix. She calls out to Felix after she loses her arm, and that moment killed me. It was so sad. But yeah, so basically, they get into a fight. Rem gets attacked by gluttony, and obviously Rem loses both her name and her memories. But that's not the only person to lose something to gluttony, because Krush loses her memories too.
It gets her arm back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a nice trade if she can eventually get the rest of her back.
I mean, memories for arms. I don't know which is worse.
I mean, temporary trade, memories for arms.
It's the law of equivalent exchange, guys. Keep up.
Yeah. But yeah, like it was. I don't know about you guys, but like it was really disconcerting, like hearing Krush like talk to Subaru after their thing. Oh, also, can we talk about the fucking brutal way that that Subaru tries to kill himself?
Yeah,
that was a pretty scene.
He was about to slit his throat, right?
He did slit his throat.
He does.
Oh wait, no, yeah, he did. He did. Yes.
Stabbed the broken sword into his throat.
Yep.
Oh,
that was brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, you get used to it if you have to continually Like, kill
I feel
yourself.
like you don't.
Yeah, I feel like it continues to suck.
I mean,
Yeah.
it sucks, but you get over it.
He gets used to it in the sense that it gets easier for him to do. He spends quite a long time in season 1 on the edge of a cliff, telling people how he's going to come back to save everybody before throwing himself off. But I don't think it gets easier to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, there's this bit where after all of that transpires, Krush goes and talks to Subaru in the hallway. And was I the only one who was just like really disconcerted by that scene? I was like, wait, that's Krush, right? Why is she talking like that?
Yeah, it is especially disconcerting for those of us who already know how she usually operates.
Yeah.
Well, it's strange to see such a. She's probably one of the most like put together characters on the show. Like she knows what she's about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
to see her go
so
from
tragic.
that to 0 is just.
Yeah, and it was like a oh shit moment.
Yeah.
But I love how when they get into the meeting, like, even though Krush doesn't remember anything, she still has this kind of, once she gets into business mode, she still has like this serious nature about her that I think is kind of really nice because it shows that like fundamentally, like even if she loses her memories, like Krush is still the same person.
Yes.
Her personality hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I think especially shines through when she's like declaring her intention to keep the partnership. Because
she calls Felis out.
yeah,
Yeah.
she does. And so I just want to I want to take a moment to talk about Krush and Felis here, because for the anime only watchers, it's probably very easy to look at Krush losing her memories and look at the relationship between Krush and Felis and go, oh, well, I guess that sucks, right? But the thing is I've read a bit of the ReZero spin-off novel ReZero X, which is a spin-off side story, backstory about Krush and Felis. And it goes into a lot of detail regarding all of the things that they've been through and why they're so close and why they care so much about each other. And when I realized that Krush no longer remembered Felis, because I had gone through it and read some of that, it was utterly heartbreaking. To be like, oh my god. Like, and like, it's not maybe readily apparent in the beginning. It definitely becomes apparent later. But like, right from the get-go, when like Felis was like putting on their like happy-go-lucky attitude at the beginning of the scene, I was like, oh, Felis, you're hurting so hard right now, aren't you? Like, you are trying so hard to be strong for her, but you're broken.
Yeah.
Like, and that definitely comes out later. Because like Felis is just like hard set on, I don't want this. I don't want this this partnership with Emilia anymore. Like, we have to protect Krush. Like, I don't want her to get hurt anymore. And like, yeah, the fact that like Krush rejected that, like, and then Felis just broke down. Like, it was
It's
hard.
a powerful scene.
Yeah, it was hard, man, and it's just made all the more powerful by, like, if you've gone and read some of their backstory.
Yeah.
So, all right, I want to talk about this final scene with Subaru and Emilia.
And I cried, and I cried, and I cried.
Oh my god. So first of all, like, I love the character stuff here where like Subaru, before going off to face the witch's cult, right? He is literally just like he tells, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go say, like, and I think he even says to Rem something along the lines of, like, if I have you cheering me on, like, I can do anything, or something like that.
Yeah.
And so when he's sitting there alone, with Rem in the bed, he says this line, which is, "You said I was strong, but without you, I can't even find the Subaru who could put on that tough guy act." And I really just love how this show is so, I guess, hellbent on showing how important it is that these characters support each other. Like, they cannot do anything by themselves.
Yeah.
Like, they all genuinely need each other, to lean on each other for help
Yeah.
and support. And I think that really comes through with Amelia. Like, seeing how their relationship has developed, the two of them, Subaru and Amelia, is just so satisfying. Going from, having this huge falling out to now I don't want to say they're attached at the hip, but they're just like, they care so much about each other, and they're like, and even it's shown even more, like, in kind of the subsequent episodes that come after this, how important it is for Amelia that she feels like she's there for Subaru, and constantly there to help him.
They both seem like they know they have to protect the other one, because the other one on their own isn't strong enough to deal with everything that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On both a, like, combat level and also an emotional level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of these moments that kind of contextualize the show. Just, oh, you were talking about emotional development. Let's show how these people are not the ultimate anime protagonist who never needs emotional support from anybody. Just a
Yeah.
sweeping voiced monologue that they have in their head that we can hear at all times because we're the viewers.
Yeah.
No, they
A
actually
monologue
need to
that
speak
usually
to
goes
people.
like, "I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'm super cool."
Yeah, and I have all the powers because I'm basically a god. So
Yeah, because
let's go
there's
out
so
and
many
win.
anime. Like, I love my shonen bullshit, but, like, they definitely will lean into the fact that, like, the power of friendship. Like, I need my friends, but, like, when it comes to that very interpersonal struggle, like, sometimes they tend to skip a lot more than they could. Like, they show, the big moments, but they don't really get into that interpersonal relationship as deeply as ReZero has. And, like, ReZero doesn't just talk about the power of friendship, it fucking like
It
hits you in the
enforces it.
face with the power of love and, like, the deep realness of every interpersonal connection that you can have. Like, on more than just, oh man, we bonded over this one thing, so we have a brotherhood. It's like, no, like, you nursed me. Like, you fucking, like, my mental stability is sound because you gave me a shoulder to cry on consistently, and you saw me for who I am. And, like, bro, like, some good ass shit.
It's really good. And, like, the moment in this episode that really killed me is, like, because I remember back in season 1 when Subaru, like, bawls his eyes out in Amelia's lap. Like, he's fucking mortified by it, right? Like, he's like, oh my god, like, I just had this huge moment of weakness in front of the girl that I love. Like, this is not okay. And that was super not manly. Like, not
Almost like that's okay, actually.
Yeah, and she's just, like, stroking his head, just like, I know. I know.
And, like, it's like, and seeing him, like, kind of be a little more, like, okay with that this time around, where, like, he doesn't ask Amelia to leave the room. He's just like, hey, like, can you turn around? Like, I'm gonna cry now. And she does, but then she kind of, like, takes that choice out of his hands, and, like, while he's crying, like, she just comes and wraps her arms around him. And like, that was, to me, like, such a powerful moment, because I really felt like that was Amelia being like, hey, like, you don't need to hold yourself back in front of me. Like, I care about you. Like, you can have these moments of weakness, and it's not going to change how I feel.
Yeah.
Right.
It's almost like masculinity isn't about not crying,
Yeah.
but rather allowing yourself to cry. I mean, maybe
No, yeah, like that's also one thing when it comes to subverting tropes in anime, like that thing where like guys have to be the fucking like tough as shit and women have to always be this understanding therapist for the boy. Like they
Mhm.
really subvert that. Like I mean, sure, Amelia is being that, but you know, for example, in the moment where Subaru is like trying to be like, "Oh, you owe me so much shit," and Amelia's like, no, I don't. Like
Oh, you later.
usually like shit like that is the anime girl's just like, oh yeah, of course, like anything, but it's like no,
Yeah.
no. And so Subaru, like to flip that as well, is like, oh man, I can't show emotion, you know, social norms, men, stuff like that. But she's like, no, you can. Please do. Please. Like this is valid and normal and fine, and that's how we should be representing it, and I love it.
Yep.
Right. And so like and then when she shows that to him by like wrapping her arms around him, like the second time that he's like crying in front of her, right? Like he has this beautiful moment where like he reaches out and he like grabs her arm. Which was just like to me I just kind of read that as like this is him now like basically accepting Amelia's outreach and being like, "Oh, like this is okay." Right? You know,
Well, like the first time he's like embarrassed by it, right? And this time he accepts that this is an okay thing for him to do.
Yeah.
Like and you like talking about like kind of the therapist thing in anime, Katie, where it's like, oh you're right, like I owe you so much, and like no, it's okay, yos, right? Like one of the things that I really appreciate about ReZero is that because like early on, that's kind of like what I think to a certain extent Subaru wanted Emilia to be.
Yeah.
And she wasn't because he hadn't earned that.
Yeah.
Right? And so now I guess like we are seeing, you know, one of the more common like, you know, escapist fantasy tropes where it's like, yeah, like the girl is kind of like being the therapist for the guy, but it means so much more because Subaru had to work to get here.
No, because that's how humans are. Like you have to earn like certain things from people. You don't just get it. Like because it's not that women can't be therapists, just like it's not like men can't like have emotions, but it's about fucking like or you know, not therapists necessarily, but you know what I mean? Like it's not that women
Emotional
can't
support.
act that way or if they do that it's bad. Like there's of course there's nothing wrong with being empathetic, but like to just expect off the bat for like a woman to just take all of your fucking shit and just do it with a smile and not have her own shit going on. And obviously there's anime characters that are, you know, the more strong-headed ones that aren't going to do that. But characters like Amelia in anime are typically portrayed as like the soft, sweet, ooh, yes, anything you need, my boy thing. And like they turned that expectation on your head because he was wanting her to be that off the bat. And yeah, and it means so much because he had to fucking treat her like a human and form an actual genuine relationship instead of just getting her to be that waifu that he puts on his trophy shelf.
Well, and to be fair, at the beginning of the show, she kind of does do that to a certain extent, albeit at a distance, right? Like she kind of fits those expectations or like conforms to those expectations he has until that scene where she's finally just like, no, this is enough. This is, I've had it up to here. I've put up with this for all this point. But literally, he says, "Oh, I'm doing this for you," and she says, "No, you're not." What did I say 3 hours ago before we had this whole coronation weird thing that happened? Like I told you you promised me that you were going to stay home and you weren't going to get involved and you weren't going to embarrass yourself or me in front of everybody or get into a fight with some dude for dumb reasons. You did none of those things. Right? You have shown me zero respect, and yet you tell me that you are doing these things for me. Don't tell me that you're respecting me by doing that.
Like, fucking go off.
That whole frickin' royal selection scene is so painful. Like, oh my dude, you are being the dumb.
Yeah,
you
it's
have
one of those,
the stupid.
It's one of those ones where you wish you could like dive in there and say, "No, stop." You have to watch.
Shut your mouth. Stop speaking the words.
Yep.
Nope, he didn't do that.
Well, do we want to get into episode 2?
Yeah, let's get into
Yeah.
episode 2.
This is where my
So, yeah.
expertise ends, but I know enough. Proceed.
So, yeah, ReZero season 2, episode 2, the next location. So can we appreciate the frickin' bit in the first, or in this episode toward the beginning, where Felis tells him, like, hey, like, take it easy for 2 months because, like, your gate needs to heal. And he's just like, 2 months? That's nothing's gonna happen in 2 months, right? Wait. Like, that's like, and he even like, wait, I just triggered a flag, didn't I? I'm just like,
Yep.
Subaru, you jinxed it now.
You
shouldn't have
done
said it.
fucked up, my dude.
And so speaking of characters that I love ReZero characters and how all of them have a purpose and none of them are just throwaway characters. I love that Otto is still around.
He's fun.
I love Otto so much. Like, when I heard, before season 2 started, I heard from somebody that, like, he was going to become a much more prominent and important character, and I was like, yes!
Yep, he drives that carriage well.
He does.
He's a good cabbie.
Drive
Yep.
that carriage.
He makes British
Yep.
cabbies proud.
And just kind of going back to kind of like the interpersonal relationship with Emilia and Subaru, which I feel like we're going to come back to a lot because there's a lot of like beautiful moments with that in these next 2 episodes. I fucking died at the exchange as they're riding back to the mansion that Subaru and Emilia have, where Subaru sits down next to her in the carriage, and Emilia says, "You know, Subaru, you always sit beside me as if it's the obvious choice. Is there something weird about that?" And she was like, "No. I felt a little uncomfortable at first, but now it feels strange if you don't, so it's fine."
Aww,
Like-
cute!
Yeah.
They are the cute!
It's so good.
I love
Um,
them!
So, but a line that Emilia had that kind of caught me I shouldn't say by surprise, but it definitely made me stop and think. She has this line where she says, "I realize that I'm participating in the royal selection for selfish reasons too. I'm sorry, I can't explain it very well. I don't want to hide anything from you, but I'm not sure how to put it into words."
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me go, huh, what are these selfish motivations that Emilia has?
See,
Cut.
as much as we've had development between her and Subaru, we don't really know anything about her. We don't know where she's from or what she's about or what
For
she's
more
doing.
backstory
Yeah.
and development on Amelia, go watch the
I was about to say.
yeah.
Yeah, I
movie
haven't
we
seen
watched.
the movie.
Oh god, what was not the Memory Snow is the OVA. What's the movie called? The
Frozen
Frozen Bond.
Bond.
Frozen Bond.
Yeah. Go watch the Frozen Bond movie.
Oh, that was so cute with the snow people.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The Memory Snow OVA is the one with the snow people.
Oh, okay. But then, like, the one with Puck is the
Yeah,
movie.
the one with Puck is the
Ooh, buddy, that's a good one.
It's so good.
Ooh,
Yeah, I gotta go back and watch that. I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, it's so good. It's so good. Go watch
Yeah.
it. But yeah, so I mean, but I do feel like we are starting to get more Emilia development here in these next couple episodes as well.
Yeah.
Um,
And the episodes to come, I think we're gonna get a lot more. I assume.
I
Yeah.
agree. I
And
would,
we're gonna start seeing the shoe being on the other foot, right? We've seen a
Yeah.
lot of Emilia being the emotional support for Subaru and all of his shenanigans and idiocy.
Yeah.
I hope we're gonna see as she has this challenge that she has to overcome that apparently only she can.
Yeah.
We're gonna see him have to play that role for her.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, like I'm definitely. I mean, we'll get into it when we start talking about episode 3, but But yeah, I definitely have some thoughts on that. So, but yeah, I was just kind of like, what's her selfish thing? Because like, obviously we know that Rosewall's goal is to kill the dragon for some reason. We don't know why.
Yeah. He's like, fuck dragons.
Yeah, he's just like, fuck dragons. Dragons.
This particular dragon, maybe.
Fuck this one dragon in particular.
We learned that from his weird, like, when like Ram is sitting on his lap and they're like chatting about what to do about Subaru, right? Like those moments where like she's like acting as his intelligence gatherer kind of thing, but also I get some weird vibes. I'm just gonna say that and leave it at that, but I get some weird vibes from that scene.
Yeah. So, just a couple, I guess, brief little things. So, the villagers that Rom took to the sanctuary haven't returned to the village. Puck isn't responding to Amelia. And we have a new face in the maid staff. Her name is Frederica. Frederica, or I don't know how you would pronounce that.
Frederica?
Yeah, Frederica is how you pronounce that in normal English speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just kind of fun little like character thing. I thought it was like a really cool choice to have this character who has like such sharp teeth, yet to have her speak so formally and like softly.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was a really cool juxtaposition where like, you know, normally you see a character like that, and it's like you think, oh, they're gonna be really sharp tongued, but no, not at all.
They're gonna be Bakugo or something.
Yeah, they're gonna be Bakugo. And yeah, so but this is when we find out, we get that confirmation that Beatrice is a spirit. She is the great spirit of the library.
Did we not already know that? I feel like
it was kind of implied, I think, but we did not get like
it was never
explicitly
stated
confirmation of what she was.
I mean, her
and
thing
what she
with
could do.
Puck, I thought, sort of pseudo confirmed that, but
yeah. And of course, Beatrice is best girl. We all know
and she's also somehow maybe related to a lot going on with the witches and stuff because she knew Betelgeuse.
Yeah.
Like,
so
she knew him.
There's a couple things. She says, "I haven't shed tears in a very long time, I suppose."
Yeah.
But then when Subaru shows her the gospel, she says, "Then you've left me behind too, I suppose, Juice." She has a nickname for him.
Yeah.
And then she gives Subaru this advice. She says, "All the answers you seek lie in the sanctuary, I suppose. Rosewall's intentions, the meaning of the gospel, answers about the witch factor. They're all there." And this is...
Well, we're gonna get some plot development.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I am now, and this is, I think, what really made me like kind of really interested in this scene. Is it is no secret that I love Beatrice.
Yeah.
Like, she is one of my favorite characters for sure. And we've seen Beatrice get frustrated with Subaru, but we've never seen Beatrice like this before. We have never seen her this upset. Like, she was legit about to cry.
Yeah.
Which is why the line, "I haven't shed tears in a very long time, I suppose," is so important. She just straight up stonewalls Subaru and tosses him out of the library. And so I'm really excited to get like some Beatrice backstory. Like, I want to know what's going on there. I also thought it was such an interesting choice to like take this really serious scene with Beatrice that's really heavy and immediately cut that to Subaru just like pancaking Otto.
Yep. They gotta lighten the tone a little bit.
You gotta break the tension somewhere.
Yeah. So
and distract you from the important things that were just said, you know.
So, we're warned about Garfield. Apparently, we got to be careful of him.
Turns out there was a Bakugo.
Yep. So it's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
Funny you mentioned that. I don't know the voice actor's name, but that actually is the voice actor of Bakugo.
Correct.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes,
God
it
dang
is.
it.
Yes, it is.
so, can we talk about Petra joining the mansion as a maid?
Some bullshit.
But why?
It's fucking adorable bullshit is what it is.
Yeah, but like.
Did he need another waifu character? Also, she's like 10?
I hate all of it so much.
She's 12, but
doesn't make it better.
What does make it better is the fact that Subaru does not take her seriously.
He does not, and that is good because she should not be, and I hate it.
But no, basically Petra is adorable and she needs to be protect.
She does need to be protect.
So talking a little bit about world building, I really love the little things that this show does in terms of how it builds its world, how it does world building. Like, so there's this little bit where Petra does like the white handkerchief thing with Subaru as she's seeing them off, and I love these, like, the fact that this world has these customs, right? And they just kind of get, it's not the first time that the show has done this, but like they just kind of get interspersed every now and again where Subaru's like, wait, what I don't understand what's going on. There's, oh, like, yeah, this is a thing that people do here. Like, and this is the significance of this. And it's just like, oh, that's really cool. And it's just all part of like what Taipei Nagatsuki does to like really make this world feel alive, you know, and like a real world. And yeah, I just really heavily appreciate that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So then we from Frederica we get after she sees them off and they're on their way to the sanctuary. She has this line where she says, "I have done exactly as the master directed. Now everything depends on how Amelia-sama overcomes the sanctuary."
So, is she referring to Rosewall in that context, or do we know?
See, that's the thing. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
I feel like...
Who does she serve?
Yeah, who does she serve? Because it could be Rosewall, but I mean, she literally just came back to the mansion, right?
Mm-hmm.
She just kind of shows up, and everyone's like, it's like if some random person showed up at your house, and then everybody else pretended to know them, and you're just like, oh, well, that's awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like the opposite of the REM problem.
Yeah. And so we get even more, as on their way to the forest, we get even more of just like the cute Subaru and Amelia stuff. Like Amelia, and I definitely, I kind of see where you were going earlier, Forrest, with like, you know, kind of that role reversal with Subaru and Amelia. Because here, like, Amelia says, no matter what happens, I'll protect you. Right? Yeah. And I like, and Subaru, I think, even has this like moment where he's just like, "Oh, so manly."
Haha.
Haha.
Yeah, but episode 2 definitely had like, I feel like it was kind of like sandwiched between some episodes that are like really whole, and it had like some good lead up to some stuff. But episode 3 is one where I'm just like, we got some shit.
Yeah.
This is where.
Yeah, no, there's a couple final things in this episode. So one, they get into the forest, and the
it's an elf.
starts to glow, and yeah, Subaru gets transported into another world, and there he meets a pink-haired elf girl in the forest.
Yes.
But we assume he calls her an elf. We don't actually know.
I mean, she has the pointy ears.
Could be a half elf. We don't know.
It's true. Could be a half elf.
They are inside the barrier to the sanctuary at that point.
They are inside the barrier of the sanctuary, so that's true. That's true. So yeah, there is this pink-haired elf girl in the forest, and really want to know what her deal is. And and then because of the root of his desire, like Subaru meets the Witch of Greed, and God help me, I have no idea how to pronounce this in English.
Echidna?
Echidna?
Echidna.
Echidna.
It's Greek. It's the Echidna was the wife of Titan, and is the mother of a lot of the big monsters in Greek mythology.
Generally just called the mother of monsters, because if a monster exists, they usually just blame Echidna for it and have done with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Different writers have ascribed her different monsters to children over the centuries of people writing Greek mythology stuff. But yeah, it's
Nice. Yeah, okay. But yeah, so he, like, before he gets pulled in to meet her, like, she says, like, oh, like, so that's the root of your desire. So I'm like, what is the root of his desire?
yeah. A lot of their conversation is very eye-opening.
Yeah. And so then we get a brand new opening. The opening is a fucking banger.
Oh yeah.
It's great, and I am so hype for freaking the Bowel Hunter to come back.
Oh my god, yeah,
Oh,
that's been
no.
like anticipated.
I'm so ready for it. I was like waiting for that all through season 1. I can't wait for it to happen. But yeah, so I guess now we should get into episode 3, because episode 3, a lot of stuff goes down. A lot of stuff is revealed in episode 3.
And that Windows XP background that he's teleported to.
Yep, I saw the comment like, oh, the Witch of Greed is stuck in the Windows background. Of all the fantasy worlds to be transported to, this is the most the most horrific.
Yep.
So, Echidna talks with Subaru, and she's like, "Oh, we want to have a nice chat over tea."
Over
And-
Or
bodily
whatever it is
fluids.
that tea is made of, because it's apparently a body fluid.
Yeah, apparently
She
it's-
doesn't explain that, but
No, she
She does
doesn't.
not.
She's just
I don't
like,
think
"Yep,
you
it's
want
a
to
body
have that
fluid."
particular explanation for this.
I do. I want to know what's in the tea.
What's in the closet? No,
What's in the closet, Brian? No, we can't go there.
I know we can't.
We can't go there, Brian.
But no. So she lays out these short little descriptions of each of the witches that are very interesting, or at least I found them very interesting.
Yes, I've been
So-
waiting. I've been waiting for this like background on the witches and stuff for the whole show.
Yeah. So we've got the Witch of Gluttony, Daphne, created beasts that defied the will of God to save the world from starvation. The Witch of Lust, Carmilla, granted emotions to non-human beings in an attempt to fill the world with love. The Witch of Wrath, Minerva, struck people to heal them as she lamented the state of her war-torn world. The Witch of Sloth, Skemet? I have no idea.
Sekhmet.
I have,
It's a Egyptian
Goddess.
war goddess, I believe.
War goddess.
She was alternatively Sekhmet and Hathor have like interchangeable. They're like the same goddess or something, and one of them is farming, and but I think Sekhmet is the war. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah, so the Witch of Sloth, Sekhmet, drove a dragon past the Great Waterfall just for a chance to rest. We've got
Which dragon is my question.
Mm-hmm.
No, but very prominently, rarely spoken of dragon in this show. And that's the only one we know of.
Yep.
The Witch of Pride, Typhon? Because there's not... Typhon, okay.
So we have Echidna and we have
know
Typhon.
names. Yeah. Typhon, out of youthful innocence and cruelty, judged criminals one after another. Witch of Greed, Echidna, the embodiment of the thirst for knowledge, who has done things she regrets, even in the realm of death, all in the pursuit of all types of knowledge.
Necromancy.
And finally, the Witch of Envy, Satella, killed all the other witches and used them as sustenance while she made the whole world her enemy, the most detestable of them all. So, that's all of the information that we have been given about the witches thus far.
Well, you forget one important piece of information, Brian. The Witch of Envy is also very adorable.
The Witch of Greed is very adorable.
Damn.
Are any of them adorable? I don't know.
No, wait, but the witch that we just met in the
Yeah.
fucking XP, isn't that? I thought that was the Witch of Envy.
Yeah, no. Witch of Envy is Satella. That's the one that's been controlling Subaru.
And isn't that who's...
No,
in
this is the Witch of Greed, Echidna.
Oh, wow. Okay, because, like, when we were watching it, maybe I just, like, didn't read that sentence, but I thought it was the Witch of Envy that he was seeing, so I was like, why aren't you asking her questions? Like...
Oh, no.
He really is dumb on that front, I think.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, do you want me to, like, explain the plot of this show? And the audience is like, yes, please. And he's like, nah, maybe later.
Nah, maybe...
God.
Okay, that makes more sense, but why he was so dismissive, maybe. I mean, you know, it would have helped if he would ask questions, but I thought that was the witch controlling him, and I was like, bro, you could, like, ask her. Like, she's the one controlling you, but no, okay, that makes more sense.
No, she is not.
Well, I retract my statement, and the Witch of Greed is adorable.
Yes. So she gives us some really interesting information. So she feeds him her bodily fluids, to and uses the sloth witch factor on the tea to strengthen Subaru's resistance to something. Don't know what.
Yeah, this is also it's interesting that Beatrice mentioned the sloth witch factor in the previous episode. She said, "Oh, what happened to the witch factor when you killed the sloth archbishop?" Right? And he's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, and this is where Echidna reveals that because Subaru killed Petrigus, he now possesses the sloth witch factor. No idea what that means yet.
Nope.
Maybe that means he's a potential host, but even though that was something we probably already thought would happen.
Yeah.
Well, they already had that arc.
Yeah.
He's possessed.
Exactly.
And they have to brutally murder him in the woods, which was...
No, exactly. But maybe
That
it's like
was
a
the scene.
different kind of host, like maybe to be more than a bishop. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, so she also reveals that the sanctuary is actually the graveyard for Echidna. It's a tomb of sorts where her soul is held prisoner.
Which is probably why he can talk to her here.
Yep.
Go on.
And yes, Katie, you are 100% correct. Echidna is all of the adorable.
It's true. She's cute.
I don't know. I like that her reaction is like, oh, well, most people just vomit when they see me.
Yeah, no, she's aware.
She's like, I'm a witch. Like, you got a strong stomach. Like, he's over, like, and Super is just over here like, oh, you think you're pretty, but I know somebody prettier. And she's like, no, most people find me repulsive, actually. So the fact that, like, you're even insinuating that I'm pretty, thank you.
I
means that something is very wrong with you.
Yeah.
Like, you're not from around here, are you?
Yeah. She has just like this aura around her that's kind of like a smell, but it's not a smell. It just makes people like feel really uncomfortable and nauseous. Like, it's just kind of
No, and like
her mere presence, stomach churning.
And that really came across, I think, when she's explaining all of the different witches, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of this intensity that's building. You can see like Subaru like just getting more and more scared. Like the more that she explains, and
she licks her hand at the end, and her eyes are kind of red and glowy, and I'm not sure what that means, but
like, but yeah, no, she definitely strikes me as like somebody who just like has this presence around her that just people just fear.
Yeah.
But she. After Subaru is like, nah, I gotta go get back to me. Now, in fairness, as much as we're being like, no, ask her questions, right? He does say that he will make time for her later.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
He's just
it's not
like,
that he isn't curious.
it's not that he isn't curious. It's just that he's like, so like this rock started glowing and Amelia passed out, and I'm really worried about Amelia right now.
Yeah.
I have bigger problems than you telling me the backstory of this universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, which really
Uh,
shows how far he's fucking come, because like anyone
Mhm.
would take that opportunity to learn, but like the fact that he sees the urgency in the person that he cares for.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, just thought that was really cute.
Yeah, where he's just like, my friend is in trouble. Can I take a rain check on you explaining
Which you aren't
yourself?
even guaranteed a rain check. This could be your only opportunity, and he still doesn't care.
Mhm.
I mean, she like, she definitely implies that like he can come back.
Well, she kind of implies, correct me if I'm wrong, and again, it might be tied to his now being inside the sanctuary, which is her grave, whatever that means. But
Mhm.
I mean, she's dead. She acknowledges that, right? She's something like, you'd say that to a dead woman? Like, she
Yeah.
acknowledges that she doesn't exist on a physical level anymore. It
Right.
seemed to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that she sort of implied that she is in his mind, and that as long as he's in the sanctuary, he can talk to her whenever he wants.
Oh, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which has all sorts of implications, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, but something very, very important happens because she grants Subaru the right to take the trial of the sanctuary, which at the time, we don't know what that is, but by the end of the episode, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he comes out, and we meet Garfield.
Uh-huh.
we meet Garfield, and that dude needs to chill.
Yep.
We were warned.
We were warned about Garfield, and they were right to warn us.
Oh yeah.
But obviously, they work things out, and once again, just kind of like reinforcing both that cuteness, but also like, I think hopefully some really like cool development for Emilia coming down the pipe, is that Emilia wakes up after having like passed out after going through the sanctuary, right? And she's all groggy. And she wakes up, she sees Subaru, and then she takes one look at Garfield, and she immediately stands up and puts herself in front of Subaru and tries to protect him. And she's like, I'm not going to let you touch him.
Yep.
Yeah. That was
and I'm just like, I love her.
No.
So, but yeah, so anyways, they get to the sanctuary, and and Garfield also reveals that the sanctuary is a place where demi-humans with mixed blood live.
Yeah.
And then we see Rom again.
Yeah. But
And
also the fact that once you're there, you can't leave.
Yeah, well, I'm about to get into that. But
Oh yeah.
before we get into that, I just want to briefly talk about Rom, because one of the memes that went around during season 1 was that like everybody was in love with Rem and nobody gave a shit about Rom. And I dislike this. Rom is fantastic. Okay? Rom is beautiful and perfect in her own way. And y'all can go fuck yourself if you think Rom is boring, alright?
Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcast to let you know that Brian is totally right.
Well, I think she is the more boring of the two, but she kind of that's her thing.
Yeah.
She owns that. She's just every line of dialogue from her is like this flat delivery that's just like she's already over what she's talking about.
Right, but like that in and of itself makes her not boring. It makes her so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah, she is fun. Like if you look at her from the perspective of don't compare her to Rem, but just treat her as her own character. Like, and I think that I would love to see her more, especially with her Roswell dynamic. Like,
oh yeah.
I want to see what's going on there. Like,
There's some funky stuff going on, let me tell you.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Actually, talking about ramen, there's, I think one of my favorite scenes from the first season is the story about the two ogres.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
That's when I realized that, okay, this show is actually going to get into some real character development. Okay, we're gonna talk some real stuff.
Yeah, no, that's why I love the mansion arc so much, is because we get so much great character development for particularly Rem, but both Rom and Rem, I think, getting just like a lot of their, understanding kind of their situation and where they came from, and like, why it matters that Subaru is basically able to kind of like open up Rem's heart again. But yeah, no, it's great. I love Rem and Rom. They're both wonderful in their own way. Also, I mean, the show just keeps doing this stuff with Subaru and Amelia, right? Where, like, as soon as Subaru is faced with Rom, and she doesn't even ask about Rem, and he doesn't even know how to like find the words to be like, so you have a sister that you totally forgot about.
Yep.
Like,
who was like your entire world before this, and you don't know anything about her.
Yeah, like
he doesn't know what to do with that.
Yeah, and he doesn't know what to do with it, and you can see him get flustered, and seeing Amelia kind of recognize that and be like, let's just go inside. And then just kind of like pulling Subaru aside and just be like, hey, like, you okay? Like, and it's just like, even though Amelia herself doesn't really remember Rem, like, she's just so sensitive in looking out for Subaru and just making sure that he is okay, because she knows that he's going through something that she just doesn't understand right now.
Yeah.
Like, they keep pushing that. They just keep pushing that direction with them, and I'm really, I guess, excited to see where they take that, in particular with how that's going to play into Emilia's development.
That's called hashtag relationship goals right there.
Yeah, right? So, yeah, then we get in, and we meet with Rosewall, who has been fucked. And this part really stuck out to me. So as Rosewall is explaining what's going on, he explains how, yes, this is the graveyard of the Witch of Greed. And Amelia keeps referring to her as the Witch of Greed, and Rosewall cuts her off and says, no, Echidna. Use her name, Echidna. Like, even says, like,
she's a person.
He even goes so far to say is like, calling her the Witch of Greed makes her sound so evil.
Yeah.
And this coming right off the heels of Subaru talking to Echidna, and her flat out saying, I've done horrible things. I'm a very evil person.
Yeah.
Right? And so, and apparently the Mathers family has been taking care of this graveyard for a very, very long time. And I don't know about you, but I feel like this kind of admiration for the Witch of Greed in this way, and kind of seemingly willing to look past all of her evil deeds, and even be like, no, she's great. This is it. It's making me start to think harder about what Rosewall wants to get out of the final, or out of this selection, the royal selection. And what his motivations are and what he's trying to do. And it's really kind of pushing me in this direction of like, I mean, like, he was always kind of a wild card, but it's really kind of pushing me in this direction of like, how good of a guy is Rosewall really?
Yeah.
Like, is he gonna end up being an enemy at some point? Like,
I mean, he's definitely got his own, like, fucking motivations. Like, and from the beginning, I don't know if I necessarily pegged him as, like, good guy, but but he was definitely, like, supportive.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't fuck with me, I won't fuck with you, but you've got your own agenda and shit going on that you're kind of keeping to yourself. Like,
Well, and
Yeah.
he's not one to tango. Like we see him. Sure, he does like gesture magic, but his gesture magic. First of all, he blows up all the dogs in the woods, right? With
Mhm.
seemingly little effort, right? And then he and Beatrice at one life respawn moment, I think he and Beatrice go at it and they like destroy the universe or something. I don't know.
Well, they don't destroy the universe, but they definitely have they definitely threaten each other. But I think the more telling
I think
thing
the
was
implication is that they like blew up part of the manor or
No, no, no.
something. Like they just went at it. I don't know.
I think the real telling thing is that when Rosewall first came and took in Amelia, he had to fight Puck to do so, and their fight in the mountains was so intense that they had to redraw the maps afterward.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to fuck with Puck. It's a bad idea.
Yeah,
Don't fuck with
so
Puck.
Speak your head off. Yeah, that.
Yeah, there's some powerful shit there.
Yep.
But yeah, so they're all under house arrest in the sanctuary, and Rosewall is hurt because he tried to undertake the trial and it rejected him. Because only people of mixed blood are allowed to undergo the trial. And so that's why the people of the sanctuary want Amelia to do it. Or else they won't let all of the villagers who were evacuated to the sanctuary leave.
Is that? Do we think that has something to do with this being the graveyard, the Witch of Greed? Do we think the Witch of Greed might have been a mixed blood creature? She's got furry eyebrows. I mean,
it's possible. I don't know if she's mixed blood, but she definitely seems to be greedily hoarding this group of people.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you did there.
So yeah, I guess I'm very curious about that. I'm very curious about why specifically mixed bloods aren't allowed to leave, but everybody else is like free to come and go. And so basically the barrier to the sanctuary has to be destroyed, and in order to do that, you have to you have to undergo the trial. And yeah, like I said, they want Amelia to do it. And all right, let's talk about this scene where Amelia talks with the villagers. Because I feel like this was so beautifully built up to, because all throughout season 1, we see Amelia trying to make connections with the villagers from time to time, and it just doesn't work.
They're a little on the racist side.
They're a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Just a little
And
bit.
so,
I mean, I guess if an evil witch, ate all the other witches and tried to take over the world, you might have some reasons to maybe be a little afraid of people who look like her, but
There's a limit. There's a reasonable limit where that becomes unacceptable.
oh, I mean, racism is racism. There's no acceptable form of racism.
Well, I don't know that it's. I mean, we can call it racism as a sort of euphemistic thing. It's not like we haven't, as far as I know, heard like, oh, well, the elves like had this civilization and humans and elves had a big war or something, and that's why people hate half elves or whatever. It's like, no, it's very specifically because of her association with the witch.
Right, but it's not just it's not just her association with the witch. It's all half elves. All half elves have this discrimination, but Amelia gets it especially hard because she's a silver-haired half elf.
Yes.
Particularly reminiscent of the witch.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but she doesn't actually have anything to do like with the witch per se. It's just people are
I don't know about that.
No, I mean, well, obviously, yes, that's possible, but I think when people are discriminating against her, it's because she reminds them, not because they know her entire backstory or something.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, people...
Like, the reasons for their racism are unfounded. Even if there might be, like, some actual connections, it's more of them just being assholes.
It's almost like there's no acceptable reason for racism.
Exactly! Ba-da-bow! Lesson of the fucking day.
Unfortunately, I don't think the world was taking notes at the time. You might have to repeat that lesson a few times.
Yeah. Well,
just keep repeating it over the centuries.
Yeah.
ReZero ends racism.
But yeah, so freaking yeah, like she goes and she has this heart to heart with them, and she actually manages to win their respect. Like, and like it's such a stark contrast from where I think she began, because initially, right, like when Subaru's like, "Oh, let's go out on a date, right? We'll go out to the village. It'll be a great time."
Yeah.
And she's just like, "Oh, if I go out to the village with you, like it'll probably cause you some trouble." And he's like, "Fucking, I don't care."
Well,
Yeah.
he doesn't understand, and she doesn't
Yeah.
explain to him at the time the whole racism bit. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, she
and
probably
so,
gets exhausted explaining racism.
yeah.
yeah.
So she essentially winds up, like, in the beginning, she's very, very reserved. She just tries to kind of stay out of the limelight because she doesn't want to, like, just cause trouble for people. And I mean, I wouldn't blame her. Like, she doesn't want to go out and be discriminated against. Nobody would like that.
Yeah.
But now she's kind of putting herself out there more, and like, and I love the fact that she acknowledged, she was like, I mean, she didn't say it in so many words, but she was like, your your feelings towards me might be unfounded, but it is coming from a very real place of fear. Like, and I understand where that fear is coming from, even if I'm not, even if I shouldn't be the object of that fear. Like, I understand where your fear is coming from, and it's an irrational thing. I can't tell you just not to do it, right? And so, I think that she took absolutely the right approach, where she's just basically like, yeah, I don't think that there's any, like, beautiful words that I can say to you to, like, make you trust me. All I can tell you is that, like, I want to help you, and I want to help get you out of here.
Yeah.
Right? And
I'm gonna help you despite what you think of me.
Mhm.
and I can't. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
And so she actually manages to, like, befriend the villagers, and they accept her, and that's so huge, because that was, I think, such a struggle for her in season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, as she's about to embark on the the trial, Subaru, like, doing that, like, cheerleader cheer for her was
Oh
just
my
the most
God.
fucking adorable thing.
Subaru's my husband.
That's a complicated relationship. There seems to be a lot of those.
Yeah.
A lot of people gunning for him.
Yeah, it's true.
You might need to fight the reincarnation of the Witch of Greed to do it. Good luck.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I gotta high school this shit.
Oh, you don't know the half of it, not yet.
So basically, yeah. So we also get this little bit where Garfield is also supposedly a half-blooded demi-human, but Subaru asks him, he's like, "Hey, like, how come you've never undergone the trial? Like, you are allowed to do this, right?" And Garfield says this really interesting thing that I'm really curious to see where they go with it. Garfield says, "I would if I could."
Mm-hmm.
So despite being a half-blooded demi-human, for some reason, he's not allowed to undergo the trial.
Yeah, so it's not every half-blood, I guess, that can do it.
Yeah.
No.
Um,
Well, and obviously, Subaru, not half-blood, can do it anyways, because the Witch of Greed that may or may not live in his head gave him the power to do so. By
Well, no, yeah, he got some
giving
special
him
plot shit. That doesn't
power.
count.
yeah.
Well, I don't know that it doesn't count, though, because maybe she's the one in charge of deciding who does the trial. Like,
fair.
So maybe she does that for everyone. But then Amelia, I don't think Amelia went and had a conversation in her head with that witch.
I think
Yeah.
it
I
might
don't think
be that
Amelia
the
drank her bodily fluid at a tea.
Yeah, I don't know if that tea party happened, or maybe it did, but it didn't seem to indicate that it did.
Yeah.
I think perhaps that the witch may or may not, perhaps even at the time of trying to put yourself into this trial, decide, do I want you to take this trial or nah?
Maybe
Or not.
that's what. Maybe Amelia's having that tea party right now. I mean, she just collapsed.
Shit. Maybe,
Well,
but she was
it's
able,
possible.
but it glue but it usually doesn't glow unless you're already allowed to take it, and
There.
he
Yeah.
fucking had the thingy in his head before it glowed for him.
Well, it's possible that she did already have that conversation, because he seems to immediately after leaving the Microsoft Windows,
Yeah.
background world, he forgets that he had a conversation. Like, he says, "Wait, wasn't I talking to someone?" And then someone mentions Echidna, and he's like, "Oh, wait a minute, I remember something I'd forgotten." So it's possible Amelia had that conversation and doesn't
Yeah,
remember it.
that's true.
Oh, that's true.
These are interesting thoughts.
Yeah, these are very good points.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so obviously we hear Amelia scream, and Subaru rushes in, and of course he gets accepted for the trial. But then it seems like Subaru basically collapses exactly where Amelia collapses.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden now Subaru has to face his past. And I am so fucking excited about this. It is so rare, so goddamn rare, when a isekai actually gives us backstory on the main character and spends real time focusing about their time, like, in their life in the real world.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a rare thing.
Usually they want to get as far away from the real boring world we already know as fast as possible. Like, you already know this world, bye.
Yep.
Watch
Yeah.
it go by in your window as you have the windows down and cruise.
Yeah, so I am uber excited for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I guess one of the other things that I'm excited for is, it seems like, I mean, we're getting a lot of, like, over these past few episodes, like I said, we've gotten a lot of, like, Subaru and Amelia being, like, very kind of, like I said, not quite attached at the hip, but very, like, aware and sensitive of each other. And so I guess one of the things that I'm excited to see is, I wonder if the way they're going to play this is that Subaru and Amelia have to undergo the trial together and work together in order to get everybody out. Which that I think would be really, really cool. I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah.
But in any case, that brings us to the end of episode 3. We did it, guys.
We did it.
It only took us.
We
It only
talked
took us
about
2.5
things.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We've
almost
been-
actually 3 hours, really, considering
Yeah,
we
3
got
hours
the
with
call
all
by
of our-
7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
It has been it's been a long one, for sure.
Yeah, but that's how episode 1
We started the season a little late, so we had a lot of stuff to get through, and
Yeah.
a lot of formalities to do. But yeah, we so the next podcast should be hopefully a more standard, like, hour and a half length.
Yeah.
Like we normally do.
Yep.
Because we're only going to be talking about one episode of ReZero.
And I will, because of the length, I have some thoughts on general plot direct. I will save those for the next one.
Hell
I
yeah.
have some thoughts.
Heck yeah.
I have many
Hell
thoughts.
yeah.
Very excited for
I'm
them.
excited to hear your thoughts on it. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, this is a new kind of foray for us, doing this, these segments, and kind of, branching out on the podcast a little bit. Please let us know what you think. Because we're kind of experimenting this season. So
having you yell about SAO.
yeah, let me you enjoy me yelling about
that's
SAO.
I mean,
Brian-
it's not a new thing for us, but
Brian, before you go back and do your ranting voice again, you need to figure out from which of the 5 boroughs of New York that's from.
See, here's the thing, Ian. It's all of them. That's the beauty of it.
It's all of them.
No.
it's all
No.
the boroughs.
Pick one and
Everyone
stick
in
with
Sword
it.
Art Online has a New York accent. It's true.
Oh, God.
I am-
Kirito.
I am
No.
I am the default New York, okay?
I'm default New York Kirito. I'm Austin.
No, you're
That's
slipping
a
into
new
LA there,
hell,
Katie. That's a
Marco,
bad
up to the
place.
mountain.
Right, that's
In the mountain.
Oh my god. Okay, let's
Oh.
get out of here before we're here for another 2.5 hours.
Yeah,
But
let's
yeah,
go.
thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh yeah, if you haven't noticed, we've changed our schedule.
Yeah,
the
surprise.
podcast. Yeah, it's no longer on Sundays. The podcast is now streamed weekly, every Monday, 5 p.m. Pacific.
Mhm.
Or 8 p.m. for you East Coast people who can't do maths. I know that there are a lot of you out there.
Yeah, so
it's fine. Math's hard, okay?
yeah, math is hard. Math is hard. So
Mhm.
yeah, we will see you all next Monday. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been fun. Bye!